Katie and the Giant. How many of you here have heard of the Three Sister Mountains just outside of Banff, Alberta? A few of you have. Not too many though. And I bet if you haven't heard of the Three Sister Mountains, they look just like this. Two tall ones and a little one. And a squeaky one. Well, if you haven't heard of those mountains, I bet you haven't heard of Katie. Katie lives right here in a cave in this mountain. And if you haven't heard of Katie, I know you haven't heard of Jason. Jason's a giant, and he lives right on top of this mountain. Now, Jason is huge. He's got shoulders like boulders and legs like tree trunks. He's huge. And you know how he gets these shoulders and these legs? Look, he picks up boulders and he throws them over the top of the mountain. And he throws them over the mountain. And he throws them over the mountain. But every day, one of those boulders comes tumbling down, plunk, right down there. And it shakes Katie right out of her bed. Knocks the dishes off her counter, spills things, but Katie's not one to complain. She just picks herself up, dusts herself off, cleans up, and goes about her day. Well, one day Katie was out picking a nice bouquet of flowers when suddenly, crash! A great big boulder landed right there. And it almost squished Katie. Oh, Katie was really upset. She said, I've had enough. I've just had enough. And she went stomping up the mountain. She said, Jason, you big galoot, stop throwing rocks down the mountain. Somebody's going to get hurt. And Jason just looked at Katie and go, ha 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 ha, who's going to make me stop, you little galoot? Well, Katie didn't have an answer to that. So she turned around and back down the mountain. She packed all her stuff and moved to the other side of the mountain into another cave, hoping things would be much better. And for a long time, things were great. Except Jason was up there practicing. He was getting stronger and stronger. Now he could pick up 2 boulders at a time and toss them down the mountain. But that wasn't good enough. He was learning to toss them over 2 mountains. Oh, well, one day, Katie was outside playing with her friend Albert. They were playing hide and seek and just having a great time when suddenly, thump, 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 boom! Came a huge boulder. Now, Katie was on one side of the boulder, and Albert was on the other side of the boulder. And Katie thought, oh, what if it squished him? Oh, Albert, Albert! Oh, fortunately, Albert was okay. But Katie had had enough. She stomped up that mountain. And she said, Jason, you big galoot, stop throwing boulders down the mountain. Somebody's going to get hurt. And Jason just looked at her and, who's going to stop me, you little galoot? Well, just then, Katie stamped her feet because she was so mad. And at that moment, the top of this mountain blew off. And steam came pouring out. And it shook so hard that Katie fell down off the top of the mountain and landed on her little back with her little feet up. And Jason looked down and he looked at that mountain spewing steam and he thought, oh, if a little thing like that, just by stamping her feet, can make a mountain do that, I'm out of here. So Jason ran down that mountain, he ran up that mountain, he ran down that mountain, and he ran into the forest where he ran around and around and around until he was lost. Well, with that, Katie picked herself up, dusted herself off, and said, you know, that's not bad for a little mouse. Not bad at all. And that's Katie.